Well, hello class. Here we are into the last part of our course, week 3. And I do want you to know I'm going to be catching up with you real soon, okay, for getting, looking, I look at all your stuff. So I'm certainly encouraging you to keep going. There's still a lot to do. And now we're probably coming down to the most important part of the course where it all kind of winds down, where this last part of the course is going to talk about developing leaders and leading change and leading teams. And the world that we live in right now, there's so much to be said about accountability. Everyone wants to be right. Everyone wants to land on their feet. When something goes wrong, it's somebody else's fault, not our fault. And I think the fault is that we have to go back and redefine what leadership really is. This might sound crazy, but the more I've been doing this stuff for a quarter of a century, and the more I talk about leadership, the more I get into it, the more I'm convinced that it's not about right and wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have our sense of ethics, we have our sense of morals, we have our laws that protect us sometimes. But the thing that's really important, I think, is seriously reflecting on people understanding the motives and the ideologies behind cultures, whether it be organizational cultures, whether it be, we're talking about municipal, city, local, global cultures. It's all about accepting that others can make choices. And when people can make choices, they do better at what they do. People understand themselves more than anybody else. An effective leader can get people to understand them. That's right. I'll say that again. An effective leader can get people to understand those that follow that leader. Not necessarily having to agree, but saying what you think is important, whether I agree with it or not. And I'm not going to manipulate you to let you see my way. So when we talk about leading change, we're talking about an ideology and a philosophy of being able not to manage people by manipulating them, but to get them to see the better part of what they are capable of doing if they work with you rather than against you. Does that kind of make sense? This past week I put up a whole bunch of speeches by JFK. And one of the things that he really stressed was you have to have your own beliefs, your own cultures, your own way of doing things. And we have to respect that you have that. But at the same time, you have to respect us because we respect you as human beings. We are leaders who see the better part of others than ourselves. And if you really want to lead change, you've got to get in the trenches and understand how people tick, what they do, what they are made up of. When you talk about leading groups of people, you have to realize that you don't have all the answers. In fact, you don't have answers a lot of the time. I'm not saying you should wing it. What I'm saying is sometimes people that report to you or work with you, they can see things that you don't even see because you're too busy looking at the bigger picture out there. actually say to you, not that they would, although I make a lot less money than you, and you're responsible for me, I'm willing to put in some of my input because I feel that by me being here, I make a difference. And it isn't just always about money. If you want to lead change, you've got to find out why that change is something that everybody buys into, not that just you want. And if you have a good vision and you can't get others to see it, then you're not an effective leader. You're an effective leader by setting example, by giving people the skills that you've acquired, and then you move on to something else. You don't micromanage. What you do is you lead by allowing others to develop their own style of leading. But you give them the tools and the resources that they need in order to do this. Many of you in this class are experienced leaders. You've been doing this a while. Or you've been mentored. Maybe some of you have had leaders that were horrible, but reading your threads, some of you had some really great people that have helped you get to where you wanted to go. Can you say you can do that as a leader by helping others get to where they need to go? So you leave behind a legacy. That's what leading change and developing leadership is about. So I wanted to leave you with those thoughts, and I'm going to put something else for you in the opening block for this week. Keep looking at your announcements. Okay? Whenever something needs to happen, I usually mail it to everybody as well. So keep looking at that stuff. Keep thinking hard. Keep thinking ahead. And remember what Steve Jobs said. If today was going to be the last day of your life, would you do it the same way? And if you say no 3 or 4 times in a row, then it's time to change. And it starts with you. Okay, good luck. I'll be checking in later on in the week.